everybody. Welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Joey Evans.
Today we're taking a look at Wizards of the Grimoire here. This is a two-player only dueling game in which you are going to be drafting cards, spells, and that sort of thing. You'll be firing spells at each other, trying to bring your total life down from 60 or whatever it is, down to 0. That's the idea. Drafting new abilities, allowing them, after you trigger them, to cool down. They sort of take a few rounds to cool down, and then you can do those things again. Fairly straightforward game. Let me show you how it works. So here we're taking a look at the game already a few rounds into play. There are 10 spells available face up for the players to pick from, as well as the deck over here. Each player has their area with their spells, and they can have up to 6 of these. If they would take any further spells, they have to discard one. And then we've got over here a total tracker, a total life tracker. I'm at 51 right now. My opponent is at 56. We've also got the mana deck over here and a discard for those. The mana cards over here have values on them between 1 and 4, and you will be drawing those into your hand and using them to activate spells. So on my turn, and it is currently my turn, we've already taken, like I said, a few turns, I'm going to take you through the turn order in the game. So the very first thing I'm going to do is choose a new spell. And again, if I am at 6, then I have to discard one that's empty. If none of them are empty, I wouldn't take a new one. So I can select any one of these spells. I'm going to go ahead and take this Vile Laughter spell, which I have some information up here that is vital to me. The top is red, and it has a downward arrow. That means it's an attack, red, and it's going to be an immediate effect. And then below that is a number, a 3. That's how many cards it's going to cost for me to activate that spell. I take it, we replenish it with 1 card from the deck. Then, step 2, I'm going to do a spell cooldown, in which any spells I've already played that have anything on them cool down by 1 card. That card is discarded. Then, step 3, I am going to gain 3 mana. I already happen to have some mana from an earlier turn. I'm going to draw 3 new ones, and they go into my hand. So 1, 2, 3 cards into my hand. And now I get to do step 4, which is casting spells. I can cast anything as long as it's not still cooling down. So this one over here, like I said, has a cost of 3, and it says, deal 6 damage minus the highest power mana in your hand. And this one over here, which is also an attack card, says, pick a mana card off of one of your other spells, deal damage equal to that mana's power. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3 cards are going to go face down on this one. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to activate this. Pick up a mana off of one of my other spells. Deal damage equal to that mana's power. This was only a 1, but I get to take it back. And I deal my opponent 1 damage. And they'll track it like so. They're at 55. Okay? That also means I can now reactivate this one. I'm going to go ahead and activate this one right here, which is 3 cards. And it says, as I already explained, that I am going to 1, 2, 3, deal 6 damage minus the highest card in my hand, which is a 2. I'm hitting my opponent for 4. They're down to 51 now. And then I could reactivate this one, but I'm going to choose not to. It would let me draw some mana cards. I'm not going to do that. And now I get to the final step, and there is a player aid for this, which I've been following, by the way. The final step is my basic attack. A basic attack is optional, as are many of the other steps. I get to play a card from my hand, just straight up discard one to hit my opponent for that much. So I can discard a 2, happened to be my highest card in hand, and I'm going to hit my opponent for 2. That takes them down from 51 to 49, and so you just rotate this card and set it to a new place to track health, all right? That's it for my turn. I've got some cards I kept in my hand, and it would now be my opponent's turn, where they take a new spell, replenish it, cool down that spell, draw 3 mana cards, activate any of those, and then basic attack me for a card from their hand for whatever its value is. This keeps going back and forth until someone falls down to 0 health entirely. Obviously, you flip this over and have the rest of the counts on the other side. And then once somebody is down for the count, they are done, and the other player is the winner in the game. All right, so there you go. That's the game. I was captivated when I first looked at this. I like the artwork in this game. I think it's a cool looking game. Now, wizards, dueling, fireball. I'm super over that theme. I think it's a theme that's been done to death, honestly.
I agree.
Especially 2 wizards across a bridge, fire. It's like, come on, like enough with the 2 wizards fighting and all that stuff. But this game manages to translate that into just abilities on cards. So the fact that you are wizards kind of fades away for me. I didn't really find that to be a big thematic hook on this one, which was good. Normally I'm like, oh, the theme kind of fades away. But I kind of wanted this theme to fade away a little bit. And I can just focus on the cards, artwork, and the abilities. And it is a very mechanical game.
It is.
It's not that it's a Euro game. It's definitely sort of, chaotic in a way. Like, I play this. Boom, I hit you for this. You do that. Oh, no, you discarded my spell. There's all of that craziness going on. But it also, the flip side of that is, and it manages to, again, to kind of be fun and be rambunctious, but the game also is very well balanced, which is, for me, kind of a negative, because I feel like it's too well balanced. It is, everything you do, I have an exact kind of response to. Like, you hit me with a spell that hits me for 6 life. Great. Powerful spell. And then I hit you back with one that does 2. You're winning. Well, you're not winning. Your spell takes 4 turns to cool down, and mine does it in 1. It's even. Like, it's sort of just everything is about the same. So while the game is balanced, and I think that's a positive thing, it might be too balanced.
It is. And I will tell you one thing. I'm like you as far as the battling magicians thing, or the wizards. It's one of those that I like the fact that this is all self-contained. There's no more to buy like Summoner Wars or Magic or whatever like that. Yeah. That has that going for it. I will tell you I like the cooldown track more than I thought I would. Not track, I guess the cooldown method of putting those mana on there. But like you said, it's one of those that really it makes it a benefit for them of how they can balance a game. If this is a bit OP of a spell, it'll tell you won't be able to use it for 6 turns.
Sure.
So that right there is almost frustrating, because then when you give it the second time to cast it, you're like, I don't know if I want to cast it because the game will be over by the time it rolls back around.
Sure, right.
And then it muddies up your 6, I think it's 6 spells you can have out there.
Right, yeah, you have to, and if you have to take a new one, then you have to let one go, right.
Right, and if you do cast it and it's going to be there, it's going to muddy up your deck or your tableau there until the end. So that's a bit frustrating. Now, all that being said, I do like the artwork. And I do like, there was a couple things, like I like the multi-use mana cards. One side where you have the power, or you can play it reversed. And there's a little bit of give and take. Like I think when I played against you, you had one with every time I wanted a 4. You want the 4 power cards. But you had it to where every time I got a 4, I had to give you a 4.
Yeah.
But then the balance came back when the fact that I had to give you a 4, then I had one that you had to reveal your highest card, and I hit you for that. So if I gave you a 4, I know you have a 4, and then
it's clever. There's a lot of clever interactions in there.
It is.
I'm sure that this was a lot to balance. Again, the idea of there are a lot of cards. There's a large stack of cards, and there's a lot of different abilities, so it must be a hard game to balance. It just, part of me can't shake this feeling of the games always being really, really close.
Right.
And because they are so close, and because you are just drawing whatever you get in the mana strength here, then the game becomes luckier than you think it would be, right?
Yes.
Then it's just about, did I get the right cards? Now these, I do like the system here where every card is 1 card. It doesn't matter. The value doesn't actually matter.
Right.
I can activate a spell that costs 2 with 2 of these cards. Doesn't matter what's on them. But many of these spells, many of the effects do reference the strength on cards.
Right.
And from that, honestly, from the few rules that are in this, they're able to squeeze out a lot of gameplay.
A lot of gameplay.
They really did. I mean, the game flow, the turn to turn, is incredibly straightforward.
Yep.
You are drafting a card, trigger your stuff, cool it down at the beginning of your new turn. I mean, like, that's it. You're just boom, boom. It's back and forth. So I like the flow in the game quite a bit, and I like the look in the game quite a bit. Now, production-wise, let me pivot there. while I like the look of these cards and their graphic design, I think it's very solid. The card quality is not very good. They are linen finish cards, I think. They're also incredibly rubbery.
Yeah,
they do not shuffle well at all. They stick together. It's hard to not pick up a single card and sort of pick up a clump. They're not good quality cards.
No, the finish on it don't fan, they don't move at all.
Right.
Which it is frustrating.
Yeah, so that's going to get that's going to take some getting used to, the fact that these cards, and they just don't feel good in your hands. They have that sort of like always dusty, rubbery feel.
Yes.
Right?
Like talcum powder on it or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that iffy finish.
Yep.
I also should mention, because I really like this, the way in which you score in this game is there's a couple of cards that you are sort of stacking on one another, and you slide it and then flip it or whatever. But there's a free app available from the company specifically for this game, and I think it's a really nice app.
I think so too.
Fully bare bones. Like, it's just a scoring app.
Right.
You know, you have you put it on an iPhone or something. You've got the one side facing you, one side facing me, and you can press -1 +1 -4 +4. That's it. And you can do whatever you want with that. But it's such a good app, I'm keeping it on my phone so I can use it to score in anything that's two-player. It's really solid, super clean, very well done.
So much better than the cards. I've always hated that card where 40, 50, you flip the card and you go back. I've always hated that. I mean, give me a dial or give me the app. The app was really good because it had like the -2, -3, whatever. It's really nice.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, this game is unfortunately in a category that is difficult for it to stand out in. There are a lot of two-player card games.
There are.
On top of that, there are a lot of two-player games about wizards, about dueling wizards, with the magic thing, the very generic sort of fantasy setting, all of that stuff. It's playing in a crowded market. It's going to have a hard time standing out right there.
Yeah.
The gameplay benefits from being clean and simple, but it lacks, and this is what I'm getting at, the highs and the lows. It's so well balanced, it's so gorgeously tuned that it manages to just hum along, and it's fun, certainly. I have a good time while I play it, but at no point is there moments of devastation, moments of elation. There are no peaks and valleys here that I can discern. It's a fairly even-keeled experience. As we get closer to 0, yes, there's a little rising tension there. But when we're done, I'm at 0 and you are at 4 or whatever.
Right.
You probably won't blow anybody away in this game. It's unlikely that you'll have an outcome like that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So while I enjoy it, I don't know if it's one that warrants that excitement and that's gonna keep it coming back to the table. I want to keep playing it. I'm just not sure for how long. So I'm going to come in on this one at a 6.5. It doesn't quite crack into a seal of approval for me. It's close. But it's lacking something, and I'm pretty sure that something for me is just excitement. It's just those highs and lows, that moment of going, boom, you played something and it's amazing. And I don't care if I'm on the receiving end of that explosion or I'm the one doing an amazing move. It's lacking that bombastic, stuff.
I agree. I come in a bit higher at a 7 for this, only because I think this has a benefit of table presence and affordability and getting to the table. And as far as the rules are so much lighter than those other dueling games.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's to that benefit. And I think the mechanic of putting those mana cards on top and you're visually seeing, okay, this card is going to be cooled down. Because otherwise you'd have to have like 6 cooldown tracks. This does that same effect, which is pretty cool. And I can see on your tableau, like when you're about to have that spell ready too.
Right.
Like when you had that one to take my card, I was watching that. I was like, okay, I got to get rid of that before he gets it back.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But like you said, I think the card quality is just to not be able to fan through your deck it's a bit of a hindrance for me. And like you said, the balance. You want one to be balanced, but you also want that story of I just hit you for 20.
Yeah, you want excitement.
You do want that. You want it to be a rarity, which is where balance has, but it needs to be there. And I don't know if it's here yet. There's no like uppercut in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So there you go, 6.57. That is a seal of approval there for Wizards of the Grimoire, everybody. Thanks very much for checking this one out with us. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Joey Evans.
And we will see you across the bridge under which is the lava. And I'm wearing the pointy hat, and I got my sword. And on the one hand, I got the other wand, and I'm like, Wizards, fighting wizards.
I'm excited.
All right, we'll see you.